All right, what's good, guys? Matter of fact, I'm in that spirit, and fuck all this. I'm gonna get straight to the point.
Man, fuck all you hoes. Fuck you and your mammy and your granny too. Man, fuck all you hoes. I'm sick of this shit. Fuck all you hoes. Man, fuck all you. Don't give a damn, bitch, what you wanna do. Man, fuck all you.
Yeah, that's my mood. I'm sorry, I gotta do that. Make sure you guys come to the video or the live stream. Hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed to the Chaos One Show, subscribe. You see the thumbnail, you see the picture. I've got the chance to watch the thing or hear the thing entitled. And personally, is some bullshit. Now that I think about it, personally, y'all seen? I'm not sure if anybody has seen it, but I'm not knocking the brothers with their what they're doing over there on their own little podcast, their little so-called esoteric Christian, so-called what do they call it? Conspiracy theorist podcast. They over there. You know what podcast I'm talking about, guys. And I kind of like they deal more with the they deal and focus more on debates than having these type of conversations to people that come on and are pretty much unqualified and really truly here to get it back. And I'm now convinced this is what the game is being played right now. If y'all want to come up and chime in on this, because I'm not gonna play the whole entire video of this, I'm gonna go through at best halfway of this, and maybe if I'm in the right mood, we'll follow up with a part 2, maybe. And I'm saying this because I'm looking at it, like literally, I'm looking at this and find that black people are dumb, though. We really are dumb, especially the ladies. That's why when she did the video and all the videos she had up there with trophy wives, she talked about the beginnings, how she met this man, all been scrubbed out, allegedly. And she only kept one damn video of her, fake tears and all that stuff, which she edit and have up there that has nearly 2-something million. And out of those 2 million, I would say 80 to 90% of those people that was watching that video and giving that video that many views were black women. Unfortunately. Oh, and before I continue, do you guys hear me? Is my volume good? Let me know. And if you're watching, give me a notification. Write some in the chat room. I need to know how my volume, how everything is sound. This video, this stream right here, is going to get very raw. And that's the way I could lay out this message personally, because I'm getting very frustrated and sick seeing this garbage. Personally. I mean, really personally. To find that, overall, when they talk about we as a community, we either finished or done. I mean, I don't know what more to say, because we go around and believe this bullshit. Not even one time question it, even question the motives, really. But to sit here, right, and go from your own little small channel to now going on to a bigger channel, so you can get more people eyeballs and attention, and maybe donations to your so-called claim, is bastardizing. I don't know if that's the right word to say it. It's asinining. So if I got my words hung up or tied up, I do apologize. Personally. But anyhow, let me make sure everything is done here. I'm just checking my feeds. All right. So let's watch this crap. I'm not gonna hold you guys time. I gotta get through this, and then maybe I'll see how the stream goes. All right, let's begin. Let's look at this bullshit. Fair use.
Reign with, let that chaos reign with, let that chaos reign with, let that chaos reign with.
The chaos reign.
Right? Growing up at home, what did your home look like in your early childhood growing up?
Due to the dynamics of surrounding my birth, which I already talked about, I grew up with a single mom, and my mom did everything possible to provide for me and my little sister. And I think the hard part about being a single mom is that when you're trying to do everything, sometimes it's hard to show up for your children. And I know my mom has always done the best she could, and she's always given us a good life, and she's always protected me. And I couldn't really ask for more. But I knew that when I had a family, or when I wanted to have a family, that I wanted to be able to be there for my children, whether that looked like working from home or being married. I always wanted to be able to be there for my children just so that I knew that they were safe. Because when I was a child, because my mom was working,
Take your time.
it left the door open. A neighbor's wife was supposed to be watching me after school, and her husband was taking advantage. And I was only 8 years old at this time.
Wow.
And I didn't tell my mother for a while because it was just confusing, and I was scared, and I thought I would get in trouble.
Now, y'all guys can't see. I apologize. Now, let's be honest. Let's be clear. You know, when there's a failure of the mother or the father, particularly she was raised by a single parent, that will be the failure entirely of the generation, unfortunately. Now, most mothers, they instill certain, not only discipline, but always tell you or lay out what is expected and what one should do. And all kids know this. Now, people will say that some kids will get scared because the person that violates them will tell them don't do nothing or say nothing or stuff. And maybe I might understand. I say I might understand. But the biggest problem I have with all this, right, is that a victim of sexual assault, right, eventually when you get to older, you will try to think of doing somebody. Now, I'm not a person, I'm at the point now in this stage of life that I can't follow the excuses when it comes to these type of heinous acts that happens to people that are victims of these acts. You have to now, as you get into age, you must now take your life in your own hands. Kevin was been harping this that once you reach age 18, everything that you're taught or whatever is now on you now to try and make it better, at least, because you're at a point now where you could possibly fend for oneself, give and take the opportunity where you are in life. And I think a lot of men and women, young and them, especially women, are not taking the initiative to really get the necessary help, in my opinion. Make sure you guys like, subscribe to the channel, and please like the video. I know y'all watching, but please like the video. All right, let's keep going. Let's listen to more of this.
Oh my goodness.
Take your time.
So just to summarize that, I want
And she has to fake the tears because there's no tears in that. Let y'all know. Let's go.
to make sure I understand. You had was it a single family home growing up? Your
Yes.
mom, she was a obviously hardworking woman that had to
Yes,
provide for the
very
family
much so.
all by
And in
herself.
school, always like has a PhD, all the above. All the above. My mom has really like strived. Every woman in my family, even my grandmother, it started with her. I mean, she owns a business, a very successful woman.
Your mother has a PhD in what? I like to ask. See, we got to ask questions. What your mother got a PhD in what? Because people that got PhDs, depending on their background, the profession, you reach the highest form of what we consider education. That means you will make a significant amount of income. Last time I checked. So really, what really went wrong? I'm really curious on all this. Because you said you're a victim self. And really, she did not lay out how she became a victim. Now, the original video, which I'm not going to waste my time play, but I'm going to play the other video that she doesn't have now up, that talks more about how she met this so-called monster. Let's keep going.
There's multiple entrepreneurs in my family, so we've always just been, just go get it, make it happen. And I've always been that way. Before meeting my husband, I always worked, provided for my children. I never got child support for my two boys. I took care of them. I luckily was able to secure a job with a family business, so I was able to work from home. But it's what I had prayed for when I was with my second pregnant with my second son because his father got incarcerated when I was 6 months pregnant. And I didn't know what I was going to do because it was just going to be me. And he didn't get out until my son was about 9 months old. But I had to figure it out. And, you know, thank you to my aunt and uncle for giving me that opportunity to be able to be home with my children and provide for them. And we had a nice apartment and, you know, we had all the good things. I had my own car. I had all my own stuff. But I remember it was one Christmas when it was just us. And I said, you know what? I would like to be married. And I had never said that before. I never wanted to be married just because, you know, I haven't really seen a lot of successful marriages in my life. So when, I'm sorry, I'm talking too far away. But when I had that Christmas, it dawned on me that, you know, maybe I should.
Now, this is my problem. And for those that's watching, you might follow this and y'all might understand what I'm about to say here. When people are throwing out their background, have you noticed these two gentlemen on the left and the right of this particular podcast never asked the real serious question? What you do for a living? In regards to work, you stay home, work, home. Doing what? I may ask. Because it looked like you had it good. So she said. And I remember I got the video that I put up here, which I'm not going to share yet. If I recall, was she making a whole lot of money at under the age of 25? She's making close to 100K a year. Well, no one asked, what does she really do for work? Should be the biggest question to be asked for moving forward. Because now we need some things to fit the puzzle here. But let's listen more into this. And you're going to find that these men don't ask no real serious questions, guys. Very serious.
Should really like put myself out there and try to find a good man for these kids. And, you know, I had 2 boys and I feel like they needed a good fatherly example because they didn't have it.
Now, we definitely want to dig into that as well.
But you have 2 boys. One of them, you said did time in jail. We don't know what this man does for a living. But to do 6 months in jail, that tell me that you got knocked out by a street dude. Typical for a lot of modern Western women, especially black women. They like to delve into the streets, you know, for that what they consider the gutter. You know, they're gonna pull from that trash and, you know, and find that said man and, you know, give him some head and, you know, go as far as give him his baby. That's how it be. All right, let's keep going.
I want to go back because I don't want to just breeze past this incident that happened at 8 years old.
Yeah.
Now, you get assaulted by a neighbor's
Yes.
husband.
Yes.
And where's your father at this point? He's just...
My biological father is much older than my mother. He took advantage of her when she was a young girl in high school. I think I remember my mom saying she was in labor trying to take her SATs.
Wow.
And she was the pregnant girl in high school. And, you know, it's unfortunate that he preyed on her like that. But there's so many men like this out there. And people just don't talk.
Now, what do you mean by your mother was preyed on during high school if she's taking SAT? So that means she probably was either leaving high school, roughly 17, 18 years of age, which really depend on some states that could consider legal adult, roughly. And we can go as far as we're not sure how old your father was at the time because nothing was really transparent. Roughly. So it makes me think, like, critically. What's good, Valley? Was your father really prey on your mother? Because last time I checked, and this is just me, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, this is not gonna be a nice stream. For those that got sensitive ears, if you stay, you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say. But if you don't have a problem, you're on the right place on the Chaos Rain Show. It seems that your mother was pretty much fast, personally, because manipulation goes many ways. There's nothing a man could tell any woman, young woman, or just a girl, teenage girl, anything that she's not willing to agree to, personally. Because you have boys in your own school. Why was your mother being manipulated by a man that's older from outside high school? I'm very curious in that. And I hear too many stories of these gentlemen talking about when they try and hook up with the girls in high school, they don't, because these women are messing with boys or other adults that goddamn could be a few years out of high school, roughly 4 or 5 years out of high school. And we could probably say even maybe older. But the point I'm trying to get at is what manipulation game you're talking about that's going into this, that your mother went in and go all the way to get knocked up by a man that is older than them. I'm kind of confused here. Hope you guys follow me, but let's keep listening because I gotta listen more of this. Very useful. Yeah, she needs to stop the fake tears. I agree. All right, let's listen more.
Talk about it.
And so the situation is your mother coming from an abusive relationship. Now she has you, you're 8 years old, you go through this traumatic experience with the spouse of a neighbor.
Yeah.
And let's fast forward a bit, because if I'm not mistaken, you had your first child at 17.
Yes. Yes.
So before having this child, what did sex look like to you at this point? Like when was your first sexual experience kind of getting active?
Probably when I was about 13. I lost my virginity to a 17-year-old boy in high school. And yeah, I mean, I was always told just don't have sex growing up. I don't know if that's what a lot of people in our community say.
They hear that a lot, I'm
just
sure.
don't do it. It's not really openly discussed about why and what can happen, and even personal experiences that may sway a young girl away from making certain decisions. But you know, I have learned, and I really wanted to be able to speak to young moms when I created my platform. Because if I would have done it over again, granted, I love my children, but if I can speak to a young woman and say, like, don't have kids before marriage if you can help it, you know, it's going to be a little bit easier. You know, just trying to be real and open and honest. I was a single mom and this is what happened. And I found what I thought was a good husband, seemed like a good husband, but turned out to be just a monster.
I want to ask this because do you feel like that experience that happened at 8, obviously you had your first sexual experience at 13, you know, intentionally,
Yeah.
It sounds like, did that experience at 8 years old, do you feel like that influenced that experience at 13? Did it hypersexualize you in a way?
I'm sure it's all connected. Because I believe that women who are basically taught from a young age that their value is in what's between their legs start to internalize that. And it's unfortunate.
And I could imagine a ton of confusion going on at that time. And now you're 17 and you involved with a young man. And if I'm not mistaken, you stated this before, that you intentionally had a child.
Yeah.
So when you say at 17, you intentionally decided to, you know, move forward with bearing a child, what exactly does that mean? And what was your mindset?
We as a couple, we kind of had this whirlwind romance. I actually met him here in Atlanta. So, on a train coming from Alexandria to Atlanta. And everything clicked, and he said, "Will you give me a son?" And I said yes.
Wow.
Now, you'll see here, and I have ladies that's in the chat room. If you dare, please respond. Can somebody really give me insight of this thing they call generational curse? Like, I hear this shit from fucking niggas about this thing called generational curse. What the fuck is that? Because honestly, it's people following and practicing same behaviors, not curse. That is trends. That's behaviors. You are engaged in procreation activities. If a boy or a man, young man, tells you, "I want you to have my baby, have my son," and you go ahead and say yes, without even thinking, saying, "Are we even in a relationship that's leading to marriage, or are we even gonna get married first?" Matter of fact, I prefer you the marriage before anything else. But no, you say yes and set forth, lay on bed, get into position, and get back shots like no tomorrow, and back shots be hit like thunder. Yes, she is very crazy. I'm convinced she is out of her goddamn mind. Yeah, it was that simple. Goddamn, that's not no curse. That is a willing participant. Let's continue. Various.
I was pregnant almost immediately, and
How,
I
how
love
long?
my son.
How long did you did you guys have a relationship at that point?
Oh my gosh, it was probably like a few weeks. It wasn't long. It wasn't long at all. And I still consider him a friend to this day. Like,
Wow.
he's still a good friend.
And how old was he?
He was a few years older than me.
Gotcha.
Okay. And that was your first child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And just to confirm, before you met your now husband, how many children did you have?
2.
Okay. So when did you have your second child?
Now she says the first child at age 17 years of age. So she was roughly what they consider almost what they consider legal adult, roughly, depending where your state is. But usually, if we look at all 50 states, most of the states, nearly close to half, 18 years of age is considered legal adult. Other states, around 17-ish and 16. So if you're a teenager of a certain age, and we all know sex is natural and all this nonsense, right? But it is better to educate young people and let them know there is consequence more than reward that anything you do in regards to sexual act, right? But I think that a lot of young people today, because it's not really emphasized as they're chastising, they're gonna go out there and explore their desires if they have not been sexually active. Now, in the case of Miss Isa Morales, that is a Spanish name, and it makes the question if she is part Spanish originally, which I believe she is. Don't be fooled by light skin. That maybe your mother failed you, and not only she failed you, but she reminded me of the mothers, that typical mothers on some Western women, that she let her children go to some people's house. How the hell the neighbor is able to get close to you and fuck you? That's what I want to know. That to me, I find that very odd, because not in the house where you reside in your domain of protection. You're outside the house, someone else's house, to get screwed and fucked. That to me, I find very odd. But she's not being transparent, regardless of the trauma. We need to understand the scenario, what's going on here, because this should be a learning lesson for all mothers right now, future mothers or existing mothers. That I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound screwed up. I don't give a fuck. Don't let your fucking kids go and sleep or camp out other children's house. Period. 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 It's the oldest playbook. Once your child's no longer in your household where you can see what the hell's going on, you let them go to someone else's household, which I could be convinced, and this is the vibes I'm getting. That's what happened. That's what I think happened. Yeah, for weeks. Yeah. But you must understand, Valley. Once sexual activities have begun and you get fucked for the first time and you experience orgasm for the first time or whatever, you know, lose your virginity. The next stage is going to create a desire, a lust, where you need to go and possibly after meet those urges. Now, some people could get them urged before they have intercourse the first time, and I understand this. But normally, how it really goes is once you, how can I say this? I'm be honest, I'm not gonna be clean tonight. As you know, this video right now is gonna be monetized. I'm not monetized video because I want to let my message be clear and coherent. That's why I'm trying to be as raw as possible because I want y'all to goddamn hear me, listen to me. Once you start fuck for the first time, you're not gonna stop. Period. Period. So obviously, it makes sense she will move so quickly after knowing this boy either during high school or after high school. I'm not sure what it is. You're gonna be fucking. It's that simple. All right, let's keep going. Various.
I had my second child with someone I knew from high school. I had known him. He went to a different high school from me, but I forget how we met. I think at the library we met. And my mom liked him. He was nice. And I actually ended up moving back home after things didn't work out with my oldest son's father. And I actually saw him when we were working somewhere together. I had gotten a new job and he happened to be working there too. And it was just like, oh my gosh, hey, and, we started a relationship and my son came about and yeah.
So at this point, you, I'm assuming 1920, you got 2 children. And from my understanding, your sister now,
Well, I would say, no, I was like 21 when I got pregnant, or around the time. I
Gotcha.
remember when I turned 21, I think I was pregnant. I couldn't even drink on my 21st
Wow.
birthday because I was pregnant with my second son.
And what is your mother at this point communicating to you about men?
My mother has always told me that you need to be very careful about men in general, and I don't want to paint every man in a bad light, but there can be a predatory side that some men do not control and do not want to control, and that's the dangerous part.
Yeah, but let's have the conversation. What do you mean predatory? I'm curious. Can you go in detail this, Miss Morales? What do you mean predatory? Now I know you only screw men, which is good. You're not a woman that likes to eat pussy. That's great. That's excellent. I respect that. Hopefully, from what you want us, the public, to know. But what is it that men that you said is for predatory? Can you dissect that? Can you go in detail? You see, gentlemen, when women use these definitions terms, they must define what they mean. Examples will be good, but you must explain yourself. We are thinking people, men especially, and Val, you listen to me? Because I want you to take notes. Men, we are thinking people. We like to hear the information. You must give us, lay it all out, because we want to rationalize what you're saying. Because we don't want to leave nothing out there about predatory behavior. Because in this society, and we're going to be honest, in this society we live in today, it is known, and is normal that men, or what we call the term predator, when first it comes the term predator, the first thing people think of is a man. They don't think about as people like men or women or any sex has the capability of predatory behavior. No, oh no. When they think about predatory, they're thinking only on the male aspect. And to me, I find that to be very problematic and blunt, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. But when you don't define what you mean by these definitions, these terms, it's confusion. But we're gonna let this play more. Let's continue.
And where was your father at this point in time in your life?
Nowhere around. I mean, he, I believe, threatened my mother that if she tried to even get child support from her, that he would end her and her family members.
Wow.
So he was nowhere.
So your mother should, like many adults, depending on her age, should say, all right, we're gonna put that test. I'm gonna put your ass on child support and try. See, let me tell you something. This is why I don't believe in these message. There's too many women right now that's putting men, on child support. And I guarantee those men, a very few, maybe a lot, who knows, have threatened their baby mamas, especially don't put me on child support. Let's be honest. You ladies are gonna move regardless. You're gonna put that dude on child support. So don't give me this that your mother was threatened by it. So he said, don't, I'm gonna end you. And then I was, no, you as a woman will do it anyway. Don't give me that. If it takes that much of a threat to get put on child support, a lot of men today that got children, and they said men especially, and they always assume black men got more children all over the place, which I'm not sure where they get this stupid ass fucking thinking. I think a lot of them are dumb, but okay. A lot of men will not be complaining right now about child support. Do you hear me? A lot of men will not be complaining about child support. Child support. If it takes all it does takes is an easy threat, and that resolves the problem. I don't think so. Let's keep listening.
Nowhere.
Okay, so you now at the point, you got 2 young boys, and are you at this point, after your second pregnancy, are you considering dating? Are you having conversations? Kind of what direction you want to take your life? What's happening?
After things didn't work out with my second son's father, and it was that Christmas that I told you where I was like, I really need to create a family for my children. Gotcha. And, just do things the right way. And I knew I wanted more children. I love my babies. I think I'll have another one in 10 years, maybe. But right now, that's just not on my mind at all. I have 5 beautiful babies, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of them, and they're my reason and my purpose. But I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, you fine. I just wanted to get an idea of what kind of inspired you to get back into the dating market, which it sounds like you wanting to start a family.
It was that.
Start fresh.
It was that. Just wanting to find a good man that I could respect because of the type of women that were in my family, very high achievers, and just really everyone in my family has been a very high achiever, that I had a certain expectation of what a husband should look like. And also, finding certain content. I don't know if I should even talk about any of that.
Well,
but
I think you should, because all of that influences how you think and particularly how you go about dating.
Okay.
And, right now it is still very much so a gender war. Both men and women are confused about how to date and how to make decisions.
Yeah.
And I think everything and anything that influenced you at that time is important to share.
Well, I had shared this before, that I stumbled across a very important content creator that I think everyone knows as the hypergamous queen. Her videos are shared, sprinkle videos everywhere.
I just learned about the sprinkle. I didn't know about it.
A lot of people are new to this, but I was true to it because I was following before there was 100,000 subscribers, like me and my sisters, and
that's Shira 7. Correct?
Shira 7, yes.
And I recently checked out her page. Thousands and thousands of views, and she's been doing it for a very long time.
For sure.
Yes. So I was telling every woman that
Shira 7, Shira 7 is unfortunately a fake guru. The reason why she got the audience she deserves is because she got naive, dumb, stupid chicks that looking for content so they can find ways to scheme and plot to how to fleece the resource of a man, particularly what's in his wallet. It's not some of anything of building or anything of playing their role. It's always what they want and nothing else. They don't bring anything in return. I'm sorry. Anyone that listens to that dumb chick, and yes, she is very entertaining. You're just learning how to conduct yourself in a matriarchal fashion with men. And I'm going to say this personally, and this is going to sound fucked up, but let's keep real. That message only works and applies to black men, particularly black men that, one, have no options, two, that has self-esteem issue, and three, that is conditioned to be a fucking trick. And I would agree with the minister. Black man, you need to stop tricking immediately. Anytime a dumb bitch should say for you to talk to her, she wants $3-4 on a Cash App, you sit there, you block her immediately. Immediately. You have better time, better use of your time and your resource than giving people that are, I'm sorry, broke as hell money just for the possibility of a conversation. Hell, even the possibility of what we call intercourse. Let me see what's written in the chat room. Hold on, I'm reading here. It's not only stupid chicks, there dudes who follow her too. I know. I do follow. Which I think you're talking about Shira 7, I think. No, she can't take Shira down because people that listen to her are dumb and very naive and very much want to be, how do you say it? They want to get gamed up if they're not game already, to play more manipulation games to dudes that really have, like I said, lack of self-esteem, tricking, and what else? Have no options. That only works for those type of men, and particularly our thing only works and applies to black men. Period. All right, so let's keep going.
Met in person, like, you know, there's a content creator that makes really good content just about, really, it seemed like how women could take their power back is how it felt. That's how it felt at the time.
Yeah. So that when you went from a place of not wanting marriage at all, and then you started to want marriage. Was she a part of the reason?
I believe that, you know what? Probably. And I hate to say that, but probably it just seemed more secure for a family. It just seemed right. It just seemed more stable, like we would be on a solid foundation. And I prayed to God about it because, you know, you can subscribe to certain things that people talk about, but you don't have to subscribe to everything that they talk about. And I've always had a relationship with God, and Jesus is the one true Lord. And I prayed about it and asked God to send me the right man. It wasn't just about what he had. It was never about what he had. Because if it was about that, I had a lot of other options with more. And it was really about how he treated my children. Because he seemed to love my boys. And he said, oh, those are my boys. You know, you remind me of my mom. She was a single mom with 2 boys. And I would just love to help you and be there for you and be the man you guys need. Oh my gosh.
So you know what?
I love the acting. The acting is so good. Don't you? You know, after this, if she don't make the money she make from fooling you dumb people, she's gonna do well in Atlanta, especially if she goes to Ty Perry, and Ty Perry come across this stupid content. You know, he might just hire her to be an actress in his upcoming role. Like, what do you call that thing that he be playing that's bashing black men and showing black men a negative light? I forgot the name of that movie. He makes a lot of these movies. Acrimony. Yeah, she could probably play in Acrimony Part 2. Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Before we actually get deep into this situation that took place with your husband, I think it's important to, talk about the impact. I'm actually happy you shared that because, we had that we had a debate just the other night where that was a part of the conversation because who you watch and learn from, that's discipleship. That's mentorship.
Oh my goodness.
That's who you are, in submission to.
Yes.
Under their leadership.
You know what? That's so true.
The thing about it is now when you're discipling under somebody to make the most important decision in your life, this is how I choose my partner. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest decision we make. Mm. They have a lot of influence on our future and the future of our children. What do you think was the biggest takeaway from that content creator in particular that impacted you? What was the biggest takeaway, or what empowered you from her in particular, that made you feel that safety and security? Like, what was it, a particular lesson or principle that was given to you?
I think that a lot of times, like I stated before, that women are taught that their value is in what's between their legs. And she was the first person that said that it was true. And you don't have to give it away to just anybody. A man should be worth your time. He should be, taking you out. He should be investing in you. He should be making your life easier if he cares about you. And that's what I took away from it.
I think that makes sense.
I want to ask you this because, right now, hindsight, with where you are today, do you feel like that was the healthiest content to digest, or do you have any regrets in really watching that content to help guide your decision making?
So funny thing about me is I don't have regrets. I believe that God is working in perfect order, in perfect timing, and there's nothing that happens that he has not approved or seen. And unfortunately, our family, not just our family, but our family in public especially my daughters, have had to be sacrificial lambs in the result of what has happened. And yeah.
So now let's talk to me about meeting your husband now, because I can imagine after you watch this content, it's probably preparing you for the suitors that come into your life, how to vet them, how to manage them. Was he one of the early suitors?
Yes.
Was he the first one, or were there a few guys before him?
He was one of the first few, and he pursued me heavily, which I liked. I think that women like a man that pursues and says that, I want you. And
you initially met him online?
Yes, online. I'm sorry. Okay. We met online. I don't want to throw the website out there, but if people have been watching, then they know. I don't want to make the website a bad place. That's not what it's about. But we did meet online. Yes.
I get it. And you meet online. You set up a date.
Yeah.
Okay. And
all right, I see more people. Y'all know the dude. It's been like almost an hour or close to. You know what I need? The support.
I want my money.
I told you.
Where is my money?
Betty, bring me everyone.
I need my money. I need my money.
What do you mean everyone?
Everyone!
Please support the channel, guys. Hit the super chat or the cash app $, I think it's Chaos 8 Rain. Yeah. Any questions? Super chat would be prefer of a deep question, so people can see what you're trying to put at. I'll put it on the screen. Let's keep going. Berries.
First date goes well.
The first date went amazing. He felt like my husband.
What about the experience with him made you feel so comfortable?
I don't know. I don't know what it was. I just felt safe. I felt like he was my husband. I can't describe it. And he, even on our first date, he said, so what do you think about if we got married in 2 months? And I said, I don't know, maybe. And he spit out his water because he started choking, like he couldn't believe I said, oh, maybe.
Wow.
But it felt so natural and so right. Yeah.
How old were you at this time, by the way?
I was 23 or
Before we continue, she said getting married in a few months. But last time I checked from a previous video, she met this dude within a whole week. Do y'all find any correlations? Because what this video says here from the other video I have up here, let's look at the other video and let's analyze this.
today I was not taught the kind of men. So after having my second child, I was working hard. I was making really good money. I think I was making about maybe 90K at the time, which for me as a
Now, mind, she said she was making 90K at the time of her job, but let's listen more about how long she met her husband that she married. Because last time I recall, it was not no marriage in 2 months. It was less than a month. Last time I checked, but let's listen more to this.
24-year-old woman was good. I thought I was doing good. I had my own place. I owned my car. I was very self-sufficient. All about the mindset of, oh, I can do it by myself. I don't need a man, as so
Yeah,
many
big mother.
of us modern women say. You know, I can do it all by myself. And I soon realized after one Christmas of it just being me and my 2 boys that I wanted a family. I wanted more for myself. It felt so lonely and it was sad. It was really sad. And it was, I'd say, one of the lowest points in my life. And I realized that I don't want to do this on my own. I don't want to raise these boys on my own. I want a family. I want someone that I can love, someone that loves me and my children. And after that was when I decided that I was going to change the kind of men I was dating and what I was attracting. One of my sisters at the time had told me that I should create an online profile, and I was so against doing that because I was like, well, online profiles are only for people that are desperate, and I look good. I'm not desperate. I don't need to, I can find a man just going out. And I was against it at first. And I think I also had a skewed version of what a high value man was at the time as well. I thought that a good mate or the man to go after was the one with the super nice car and a stack of money. And
I don't know if this is the one. I'm gonna continue on the other video tape. I'll go back and forth, see if I can find it. Let's keep going. Ferris.
24 or something like that.
And what was his age?
45, 43, 45, something like that. I don't know.
So he's around 20 or so years older.
Yes, he's 20 years older.
Now, being a young woman at that time, 23, did you have any reservations about his age, or was that a concern at all, or was that just a typical right? Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't get introduced to dating older men until I started watching Share 7. She just basically said, I mean, they got
money.
Yeah, exactly. They can be a better man to you. They can provide for you in the way that you would like, and your kids, and so I was like, okay. And it was a bit odd at first because I didn't initially jump right into online dating. I just, men would try to talk to me at the grocery store, and normally I just wouldn't even pay attention to older men. But I just started to be a little bit more approachable, I guess, to men of an older age. And I ended up meeting the first older man that I dated. And it was a little bit odd at first because I just wasn't used to dating an older man. But because he treated me well, it became easy. You know, you feel like a princess, you know?
I'm curious to, you said I started doing things to make myself more approachable to older men. Like things like what? What makes you more approachable to an older guy?
Just like smile more, or, you can make a little more eye contact, where normally if you don't go for a certain type, you're probably not even going to turn your head. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're not even going to look in their face. But, I was like, let me keep my options open. I always was attracted to men of color, so I typically stay in that range. But I was like, let me see about dating someone a little bit older. And after I did, I was like, oh, I can do this. It's not too bad.
That's very, very honest of you, and that makes a lot of sense. And I want to ask, the online aspect of it, was that also a part of the strategy, so to speak, to be able to identify men that might be a little bit older?
It wasn't at first.
Okay.
Actually, one of my older sisters said, why don't you just try online dating? She was like, it's not too bad. And I never had online dated, like not made any type of profile.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't want people that know me to see me on here, and it's kind of embarrassing. And, that's just was my thought process at the time. But then she was like, no. And my oldest sister, she's gorgeous, so it's not like she doesn't have in-person options. But she was like, just try it. And so I tried it, did a paid dating app because I feel like it would be a little bit more, smaller pool of better people. Yeah, exactly. And, I was able to meet, some good guys.
So how long after that first date, did you, because obviously he threw 2 months out. What happened after that first date? Did you guys continue exclusively dating?
Not really. I mean, we kind of dealt with each other, like talked, but I kind of was just talking to people. Like I kept my options open and just was letting people get to know me and taking things slow, not really rushing anything and not trying to get into a relationship at all. And I found that honestly, when I started dating older men, they wanted to rush into a relationship like immediately. On the first date, they were like, I want you to be my woman. And I'm like, no, I don't even know you. And that's kind of just how I would, we need to get to know each other over a bit of time. And
But didn't I recall that it only took a week to even, from what I remember, and y'all guys probably could correct me or not. Was you homeless with the second dude? Like the dude kick you out or something like that? I think that's where the story go. And you met this dude on a dating app. I forgot what app was it again. And then you actually move into his house. And from what the story, you said your mouth, Miss Isis, that for him to make you move in, you and a guy got married. And that's where you float and put out on your old videos that you took him down. So what is it? Because the story is not, the math is not mathing. This is why a lot of ladies that did content against you are in there right. Even some dudes did some content against, because right there, if you're out here getting married in less than a month, allegedly, right? And he marries you and then wants to have kids immediately, right? And then a few years later, come find out your kids are getting touched sexually by this man. It's not really computing, in my opinion. It don't make sense. But anyway, let's keep going. I want to get through halfway through this. I'm not playing the whole video of this. Very serious.
it turned out to be 6 months, not 2 months.
I think that is very interesting, because, and initially when you told me about the things that, your husband at the time was or the guy you was dating at the time, the things that he was saying, I thought, well, that's, kind of strange for him to be saying those types of things. But based on your experience, you're saying that the older men, this was regular conversation.
Yes, they wanted to take me off the market right away.
Wow.
Right away.
Okay. So at this point, 6 months goes down the line. And what is the transition from you now taking him serious? What did you see? Because I know when it comes to the assessment of, deciding to be a husband, a lot of, what the noise is that, it was solely a financial decision that was
No.
made. What's the truth behind the decision? What did you see in him to actually make him your husband?
He was so good with my boys. He was so good with them. Even my oldest son responded to him in a way that he didn't respond to with my ex. And I paid attention to those little things because I would gladly leave a man if he didn't mesh well with my kids. And I had did that with the man that I was in a more serious relationship with right before we got married, because I had started, like, that was the man that we started looking at rings, and the relationship was, moving forward, and I
Right, 'cause
had
there
moved
was a-
in.
There was another, there was another gentleman
Yeah.
that you met, and I believe you said that you got caught in the girlfriend stage.
Yeah.
So could you detail what that relationship? How did you meet that guy? How did things kind of get started? And what exactly was the girlfriend stage?
We met online, and he just was, very consistent. He just wanted to do anything to make my life easier. What can I do for you? What do you need? Very nice and perfect gentleman. But he was nice to my children. All of the men were nice to my children. Like, if I met, there's probably 3 men that met my children. All of them were nice. But with him in particular, because we started to live together and, it was a little bit more of an intimate setting, I feel like him and my oldest son clashed a little bit, because my oldest son, I kind of always let him be the little man of the house in a way. And he's very, very smart and highly intelligent child. And he, is not just going to let any man come in and think that he's the boss right away. So there was an issue, and he said something about, can your son, stay with a relative for a little bit?
Wow.
And I said, oh, you mean can we go stay somewhere? That's what you mean. And I packed my stuff right away. My sister came and got me and all my stuff. And because it took 2 cars, I had my car and she came with her car to get my stuff. And he brought my TV and stuff, like all the bigger things he brought. I asked him to bring it back the next day. But I left and I went back to my apartment, which I had to be out of soon. And I didn't plan to need to, do anything else, because I thought the relationship was moving forward. I was his girlfriend, but, he was taking very good care of me and he seemed like a good guy. But when he said that about my son, I said, no, it's all of us. It's all of us. So I left him. And I remember that night I was in the shower and I prayed and I said, God, I just want someone that's going to love me and my children.
Now, I'm going to say this. This is the honest truth. No other man, if it's not his own seed, not going to like and respect you and your kids all at once, roughly. In today's modern times we in. And I speak personally as a man, now that I see those things differently than, and most men could agree with me or not, that if you come in with kids, it's already a big L. And how can I say this? A big minus for you personally, because now we have to really take more time to attend that. We have to attend to you and the children that's not ours. And we all know how this turns out roughly, especially when it comes to boys and girls. If it's not the biological father, they're not gonna respect the stepfather. And they shouldn't, because that's not his actual father. That's why you see a lot of mothers, and listen to me well, and I know a lot of lady conscripts have covered this in detail, but I'm going to cover this as a man. Your children should know the pecking orders of what this family is going. You must instill order to your bastard children. And yes, we're going to use the word bastard because some of them either knew their father or not, and you're not married. To know where you are going, where you're taking this family going, because you as a mother right now, not married, you are actually the lead role. You're the head of this household, period. Not your goddamn son. Not your goddamn son. Not your goddamn son. unless your son and you are, and this is what they say about the son husband phenomenon. This is very dangerous. Literally, very dangerous. Your son is not your man. Your son should stay in a boy's place and learn to understand and fall back and learn to take actual orders and instructions. And this is why a lot of young boys that are around other men, today don't have respect, and that's why I'm get hurt and get, other problems. Because they operate like a bitch, like the mother. And we all know what happened to bitches. Let's continue. Fair use.
That's what I want.
Now, I want to make sure that the audience is following us, because we pretty much, I want to make sure we don't move too fast. But you have your second child, you 21, 22.
Yeah.
Some additional time elapsed. Now you're 23 and you're on the dating market. Doing a bit of online dating when you initially meet your current husband.
Yes.
But things progress a bit, but not too much to where you still keep your options open.
The other guy was just more consistent. He was always there. He was always, what do you need? So he just was prioritized.
Understood. Now, this gentleman that you're dating, you decide at some point you want to move in with him.
Yes.
And what was the living situation? Is it he's already has a place where he occupies, and then you and your two boys move in? Okay, got you. And how long were you dating before the relationship ends?
I mean, we're moving pretty quickly. They're moving pretty quickly. I can't quantify a time. I can't remember exactly, but things moved pretty quickly. But he seemed like a good man, and I worked from home. So I always was able to keep an eye on my children. That was part of it. I was never leaving them with him. And no, I don't care if I have boys. I know people are crazy.
That makes sense. And in hindsight, with you and the boys moving in with this gentleman, is that something that you think the typical single mother just has to kind of, be concerned with in terms of moving their children in with, somebody that they're getting to know? Does marriage and commitment, or what level of commitment should be taking place before a woman does something like that?
Back then, if you would have asked me that, I would have said, if a man's going to take care of you and your kids, and that's a good man, take it. But now, it's hard to even have the words. You have to be so careful. So careful. Because men are not just doing this to stepchildren. They're doing this to their own children too. And that's something that's just very scary and incomprehensible, to be honest.
I understand.
So now this situation that happens, because now you're back in your apartment. You didn't expect to be here.
Yeah.
And it sounds like now we got some financial issues taking place.
Yeah.
And so what's the solution at this point?
It was crazy because when I prayed that night, he called me the next morning, and it was random. Like, I hadn't talked to him in a few weeks, and, he would check in every time, but he just wasn't a priority. But he said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I said, just getting out of a relationship, and, it didn't work out. Him and my oldest son didn't mesh well. And he said, "Well, I love your boys. They're good boys. I mean, they're," and the way my sons responded to him when the two times that they had met him was very good. Was very good. And he seemed like a good guy. I mean, his parents own their own church, and he seemed to have all the values and all the right things and said all the right things. And I was like, this is the only man that I feel like I've really been able to connect with God with. And that was something that was really powerful to me, because I feel like that was missing in, any other relationships that I entertained. Is I didn't feel like we had a strong faith bond. And when you meet certain people and you just know that you can just talk about the Lord, it's okay just to talk about the Lord and how good God is, and just, and I had that with him. And that was definitely a part of the choosing. I prayed and I said, God, please give me a sign if this is right. And I feel like God gave me all the green lights. I feel like he did. And I still feel like he did. And I just didn't know that God wanted to use us. But that's just what ended up happening.
Do you feel like what he told you, or that love that he said he had, do you feel like that was genuine love, or was that predatory?
I'm unsure, because he didn't touch my boys. He did not. He did not. They've been interviewed. I asked them as soon as my daughter told me, and I always asked them, even before my daughter said that, because he's not their father. And I'll never trust a man 100% with my kids. I was always looking at him, even him changing our daughter's diapers. He would even say, oh, I don't feel comfortable changing them because they're girls. Why don't you change them? Play.
That story right there is kind of fishy. If the new stepfather, right, has kids by you and he has daughters, I wonder, and this is just me, and I want anybody that's a parent right now to really give me some answers here. Isn't the role of both man and woman that you have children, if you're not around, and this is your husband and he had his biological kids, shouldn't he be changing his kids when you're not around if needed? So you tell me you rather let the children poop and piss in diapers all day, every day? This don't make no goddamn sense to me. I'm confused here. I'm very confused here. And this is why there's a lot of question marks floating around here. I can't say it's red flag because this don't make no sense. You're the father. This is your children. You tell me you're not going to change your own daughter's pants. You're going to make your children sit there stink up? Is this what I'm rationally thinking? I hope I'm not wrong. Can somebody explain this to me? I'm confused. Can somebody give me some answer here? Let me read the comments. Yeah, I don't believe him saying that either. Because it's your own kid. Who does that? This is some weird parenting. Say, I don't feel comfortable change my own daughter's Pampers. What? So you want your daughter? Listen, bro. Yo, listen. Let me make myself bigger. Hold on. I'm not happy with this. If you as a father, God forbid something happens to the mother, hear me well. So you're gonna look for some random woman, to change your daughter Pampers. Do you know if you don't change your daughter's Pampers because she don't have a phallus and she does both? If I could be wrong, and I'm just thinking clear, she can get infection if those Pampers not changed at a certain period of time. I could be wrong. Can somebody educate me, please? Because as boys, we have a thing that, okay, but women have nothing there. So you don't want to accumulate into your baby. You got to change that. Let me read this. In my family, it's normal to change the diapers of boys. Of course. It's normal. You're supposed to do it. It's not right. You got to change your daughter's separate. What the? Hold on, let me read more. They just made baby stools in men's bathrooms due to fathers not being able to change the baby stampers, both boys. Yeah, because fathers are around it. Children are mostly around their fathers now. I know what you're talking about. Yes, it's very important. Yes, it's very important. I'm not see. This is my issue. This is very goofy to me. This is sound real weird. Listen to this conversation. I could tell how fucking fake and phony this bitch is. Tell me, your man's not comfortable changing. This is weird. Let me keep going, man. I'm gonna get mad. Very serious.
The role so perfectly. He knew everything to say, but I almost wonder, did he want children? Because he really wanted children. That was a condition of our marriage. It was a condition.
What do you mean a condition? That's something like he wrote it down, or he
No,
told
that's what he said. He said, you know, when we started talking about the marriage, and he said, you know, I just really want to have kids. You know, I haven't had any kids yet, and he's an older man, and I thought it was odd that he hadn't had any kids yet. But he said, you know, God just hasn't blessed me with kids yet, and I really, you know, want to have kids of my own. And I said, I'm willing to do that. I mean, if you're my husband, okay. And I wonder, was he trying to, did he have intentions? Because someone close to me said that sometimes predators like to grow their own prey. And that's a
Wow.
really sad thing. But there's stories of it.
Now, I want to go back just a bit because you have just moved out with your two sons back into your apartment, and now you're entertaining conversation, potentially dating again with your husband. How long after you move into your apartment do you accept his invitation to now move in?
Within days.
Okay.
Within days. I mean, it was, I think that first conversation, like one of the first few conversations, he was like, well, I told him what I was going through. And I said, you know, I just need a place to stay for a little bit just to figure it out. And he said, well, if you come here, you're going to be my wife. And that was sexy to me. I was like,
Because
okay.
And I can imagine that because you in emotional turmoil at that time. Finances is just tricky just because you running into a bunch of unexpected things.
And he seemed
Hold on, guys. I gotta check see what's going on with you. Make sure everything's going on with my thing. Is everything working? All right, look like things working. All right, let's keep going.
like a good guy.
Yeah.
He did. If I thought he was a crazy man, I would have never entertained the idea.
How old were your boys at the time?
5 and 2.
5 and 2?
Yeah.
The 5-year-old, and see, I know it had to be a lot for the young boys too, because you know they just were introduced to this other brother here.
Yeah.
And now they got to see this new guy. What did the 5-year? Did he express any concern or he just kind of going with the flow? 5 years old.
Honestly, we got married a week after that we started talking about the marriage, and at the wedding he said, "Can I call you Dad now?"
Wow.
And he said, "Oh my gosh, yes, that means so much to me."
And was his own father in his life?
Not like that.
Not really.
Not like that.
I get it. So he was excited to actually have somebody
A
he can
family.
call Dad and a family.
I thought it was one of the happiest days of our lives.
Wow.
In that span, from the time you moved in to the time you guys got married, how long was that?
From the time we got married and moved in?
Well, from the time you moved into his place.
I
to the
didn't
time
live
that-
with him before we got married.
Oh, wow. So
No.
better question. From the time from that phone call you guys had to marriage, how long was that?
1 week. It was a week.
Okay.
It was a week, and I didn't live there until the day after. I remember moving my stuff in the day before we were getting married, and I didn't sleep there. I went to the hotel that he booked for me and my sisters, a very nice suite. We had a beautiful wedding reception. I mean, he threw it together so quick. He was just like, "Here, just do what you want to do." And it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Do you feel like if you had enough money in your bank account to comfortably pay rent and other things, would you have made that decision?
Probably, yes.
Okay.
Probably, yes.
Because I know sometimes, you know, when money's tight, that has a lot. Finances just have a lot to do with our decisions.
But I was making good money. And that's why I said I only needed like a little bit of time to stay. Even if I was to stay with a family member, I mean, it just would have been a little bit because I was making good money working for my family.
But no one doesn't know what you do for a living. Working in family doing what? I may ask. They don't ask these questions. See, you know, one thing I've learned, this is just me, people. They always ask a lot about men, what they do in general. But we never ask these ladies, what do you really do on side to really feed yourself? Because that's a really general positive question, because you can't get by tricking unless you're good at it, you know, or you're doing that just to get by as a woman. And I'm not saying you're selling yourself, baby, but you're a woman that don't like to work. You're giving signs that you don't work much or do much. So we could assume or conclude that you're doing something on the low. But we can't go into that because we don't know what you really do. But we could assume that you're not really working anything that's really sustainable. And if you are, you're doing something maybe naughty. Who knows? I don't know. But let's keep listening. Berries.
So I knew I would have been able to find something. I just hadn't had to plan to move so quickly.
Yeah.
And I moved my stuff in, went to the hotel, and the day after we got married, you know, we went home.
Wow.
Started our lives.
And at that point, when you agreed to the marriage, if you could, you know, give it on a scale to 1 to 10, how eager and excited were you to get married, and not to just get married to this particular gentleman, but just get married in general?
I was over the moon. I thought it was my fairy tale. It seemed almost too good to be true. I just kept praising God, how good God was. That this happened for me and my children, and we were finally a family, I thought.
And at this time, when you decide to make the decision and you go about, you know, informing your family, how did they receive that information?
They were shocked. I actually made my husband come ask my ex. I made him come ask my mother for my hand.
Wow.
That was a requirement for me to marry him to me. And he did so, and he was very respectful and just said, I'll take wonderful care of your daughter. She'll never have to worry. And her sons, they're mine now.
Wow.
And he said all the right things. And my family was there when we got married. I mean, I think they were like a little hesitant because of how quickly. But he seemed like he really loved me and my sons.
Was that the first time that you've ever had a man to not only profess his love for you, but to also profess his love for your two boys at that time?
I would say that men always would try to be nice and, you know.
Before we continue, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, and share the stream. And y'all know what to do. Please support the Chaos Rain Show.
I want my money. I told you.
Where is my money?
Benny. Bring me everyone.
I need my money. I need my money.
What do you mean everyone?
Support the Chaos Rain Show, people. Cash App or Super Chat, $ Chaos 8 Rain. If you enjoy and want to chime into the stream, you know, I know one person who's active in the chat room. I would like to see more people active in the chat room. I want to hear your thoughts. Write it in the comment section of the stream, or just in general. I want to hear your thoughts, opinion on this. She's not really saying much anything. That the story has changed up on this podcast from what I'm assuming. But I think it's going to get more deeper as they keep picking her brain. So let's keep going. Farious.
But I felt like they wanted me. You know, I'm going to be nice because I want her, not because it was genuine. I could tell he really wanted to be a dad.
Wow.
He really wanted to be a dad. And it just showed. And Everyone was so excited. He bought them all new toys. Picked out what beds do you want for them? Do you want to do their room? Whatever you want.
Also, he was
Wow.
very serious about getting everything, set
everything.
up.
That man at action. Action. That is something women respect.
When was the point that you started seeing some signs that things might not have been right with him?
Honestly, early on. Not even a month, some girl, his ex, was showing up at the doorstep. And she was like, well, he was supposed to be with me because we got married so fast. So,
Wow.
you know, I guess she was maybe hanging around, or I don't know. And she looked very, very, very young. But she was of legal age. I think she was 21, a few years younger than me. But she looked like a child.
Wow. So that was pretty much his type for the most part.
I told him, how can you be attracted to her? Because she doesn't have a body or anything. She looks so young. And he was just like, he wouldn't really say much. But I'm like, well, I guess she is an adult. It's not illegal. I guess it's not weird. But to me, it's odd.
Age?
Well, yeah, she told me how old she was. She just
wow.
came. We talked for a little bit, and it was, yeah.
I mean, she shows up at the house.
He wasn't
Right.
there. She was sitting on the step when I pulled up at home.
That was the first red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then did it get progressively worse, or did it get better after that?
He was very controlling very early on. I remember actually the day we got married, I started seeing how insecure he was. He always thought I was looking at other men, like just imagining it seemed. Or maybe not even imagining it, maybe just trying to scare me into not ever thinking about doing it. I don't know.
And this is a man who has already expressed that he wants to grow a family. He wants to have children outside of the 2 young boys you already have.
Yes.
How would you describe your sexual relationship?
With him?
Correct.
Vanilla? Normal? Seemed like a normal guy. He wasn't.
So nothing.
No, he just, like, I never would think that this man would do this stuff. He hid it so well. Even, if I saw him watching adult videos, it was grown women that looked like me. I'm like, okay, well, I guess you're thinking about me. That's okay. Nothing like that. Not at all. He already knows I don't play that because he knew,
And was there any level of aggression or anything that ever became violent towards yourself? Like, did he ever have any of that energy towards you?
He never put his hands on me like that. No. Okay. He never put his hands on me. He was not physically abusive to me, but he was sexually abusive. I guess that is physically abusive.
Okay.
But when he first, what people have to understand is marital, I don't even know how to say it. Marital R word is never talked about. And it's a real thing. And I think I read it didn't even become illegal until 1970 something. So.
Now, she said something about marital sexual touching, or what they call the R word rape, right? Matter of fact, I should look that up. Let me look that up. Let me do that. Make sure you hit the like button, guys. Let me look that up. All right, let me look that up. I think I spelled that right. I don't know if it's going to give me anything. All right, it said here marital rape became illegal in all 50 states of the United States by 1993. However, the journey to criminalizing it began in 1970. South Dakota was the first state to make marital rape illegal under all circumstances in 1975. Before this, marital rape was legal in every state, and it took years of advocacy and legal reform to change this. Now, this information she laid out here, we got to look at the time frame why it now they started to put the laws in place. We have to go back in. We're looking at America at that time, 54 years before this was enacted. We're going through the stage of sexual revolution, including LGBTQ coming into an organization as a movement. And not only that, if you think about no-fault divorce start come around in 1969. And I'm going to probably ask the artificial intelligence if I'm right at what year was no-fault divorce? I think that's how it is. Let's check. Yep. 1969. I was right. The first no-fault divorce law in the United States was enacted in California in 69, and it came into effect in 1970. So it started the effect start 70s, but it was already written in law in 69. The law allows couples to divorce without having improved wrongdoing by either part. Would you like to know more about the no-fault? Yes. Let's go yes more. And I'm gonna read more, but let's keep playing this because I want to keep on with this. Various.
You have to think he may have grown up. This is a normal part of life. You own your wife, and he would use scripture to manipulate me. You know, your body is not your own. It belongs to your husband. Wow. And, you know, that type of stuff too. And he would gaslight me. And I would be crying. Like, first it starts off, you think, oh, you know, he's just trying to have sex and I just don't want to. And it's like, you know, I'm telling him no. And, you know, you think he's playing it.
Let me pause this. What's good, Jay Shine? How you doing, brother? How you doing? All's well. And you know what? I'll drop some links. Yeah, I might as well. I'm going to do 10 more minutes of this. So I'll drop a link now. For anybody to come up, including Jay Shine, or anybody who wants to time me on this. Let's keep going. Fairy's face.
First, it's like, no, I'm serious. And then it gets to the point where you're like, he's not stopping. And I'm like fighting him and crying like, no. And it happened 4 times. But I remember the last time something in me said, don't fight and don't cry. Just lay there. He couldn't even finish. He just got off of me and just said, we're getting a divorce. And I realized that he was just attracted to the sadistic part of it.
Hold on, wait. So you used to fight him and cry, and you felt like that was what turned him on? Because
It was for sure. Because the last time it happened, when I just laid there, like I just had to be very quiet. Like I just knew just to lay there like a dead fish, basically. And he just couldn't even finish.
Did you ever think to, you know, file a criminal report when that was happening, or did you just not want to do that because I was your husband?
It didn't even. It's hard. There was so much gaslighting. He'd finish and then be like, "Babe, why are you crying? I thought you wanted it." And hold you and rub you, and I love you so much. The next day, you and the kids everybody's getting new clothes, and you know, and you're thinking, oh, my husband is a good guy, you know, he's not, you know, and I am his wife. I mean, my body does belong to him, and it says in the Bible. So, what am I complaining about? But the last time, he never did it again because he knew that I knew that what it was about.
So, by the way, were you his first wife?
I didn't even realize how many times that man had been married before I married him. I'm his fourth wife.
Wow.
Did you know that before marriage?
No, his mom slipped up and told.
How is his fourth wife? So that means you could do some brief research to find out how many times he's been married in. I mean, I don't mind you listen to the mother will tell you, but have you really double check and verify that? Because it seemed to me for a man that's, if she said the man is nearly close to 50 and he's going through that many women, two things come to mind. Either you got a lot of money or the women you picking, they're under some form of marital agreement that you don't have to pay much or nothing during these marriages. And if you got more than one marriage, we're going to conclude that you have kids with these women. But there's not enough information or transparency of your relationship between him and you. I question a lot of things. And that's what a lot of people that now go back to this, they're going to question even more and draw their own conclusions to you, sweetie. Let's keep going. Ferris. And hit the like button, guys, and share the stream.
She knew she wasn't supposed to tell you that.
I don't know. He had told me he was married 2 other times, but he said that the women cheated on him and whatever.
Did you find that out to be true? Did you ever speak to his ex-wives?
I spoke to one ex-wife, but she was so reluctant to even talk to me. I don't even know what he put her through, because she was just like, when you called me, it took me back to a bad place. And I was like, oh, she was just didn't share much.
Now, amidst the abuse, you are still together. You're still growing a family.
Mm-hmm.
And now you are, if I'm not mistaken, 3 daughters in.
Well, I got pregnant with our first daughter 4 months into the
4
marriage.
months to the marriage.
We
Okay.
had been trying to conceive from the time that we got engaged. The time he put the ring on my finger, it was, all right, you know.
Yeah, man. Guy was putting in the work. He said, I'm going to knock you up tonight, bitch. He put in a lot of booty clapping. He put in a lot of back shots, front shots, side shots, all over the shots. 6'9", 12'9". He said, you're going to have my kids tonight, girl. I'm going to balls deep in you. Yeah. Yeah, he wanted babes bad. All right, let's keep going.
We knew we were getting married. So he was so excited. He was so excited.
You know, what I'm curious about is in this, it just seems, I mean, this is a lot. It's a lot. I can imagine. Were you happy in your marriage at all?
I was. There was good and bad, but we had a good friendship. I think that was, one of the main things. We loved to watch movies together and spend time together, and we loved to, do things with the family, and I thought we had a good life together. And it's not like we were not intimate. Like, we were always intimate. We had a normal marriage for the most part, other than him being controlling, very, very controlling. But to me, it was easy to comply because he gave us the world.
How long were you guys married?
For 5 years.
Okay. And so when did you actually get into, because I think as a whole, me and Ryan, we have this, I know starting a YouTube channel is a whole nother situation. Because was that your full-time business as a wife? Like, was that what you were doing full-time, or did you have a job and your YouTube channel?
I stopped working shortly after we got married.
Okay, so you a housewife at this point.
Yeah, he paid all the bills. If I made any money from YouTube, it was all yours. I could get things for the kids, that's a lot of stuff I like to buy. But yeah, and he provided everything else. He didn't ask me for anything, and he was an amazing provider. Anything I wanted, he gave me.
I want to address this too, because I think it's important, because you've touched the lives of a lot of ladies. And I'm just curious to know, because again, coming today who you are, even me and myself and Ryan, you know, when life puts you through things, who you are now, 6 months ago, a year ago, 3 years ago, it changes.
Yeah.
Would you say that with your now today mind and who you've grown into and become and how you've seen life play out, is the advice that you gave to women, would you say that that was still sound for the most advice that you will stand on to this day? Or do you think there's some things that you'll
Absolutely
go?
not.
Before she answers that, and I'm going to read you the more in-depth of no-fault divorce, because we hear about it constantly in certain sectors of YouTube and social media, but we have not really looked into the breakdown of the laws and the evolution of no-fault divorce. So I will go into briefly. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and make sure you become a member of the Chaos Rain Show. No-fault divorce laws have indeed evolved since California's groundbreaking legislation in 1969. Here's a brief overview of the journey. I quote, and there's 4 points. First point, California in 1969 is the first no-fault divorce law was signed by Governor Ronald Reagan. This allows couples to divorce without providing fault such as adultery or abuse simply by citing irreconcilable differences. We all heard that word before. Number 2, the spread of other states, 1970 through 1980. Following California's, other states began to adopt similar laws. By the mid-1980s, most states have some form of no-fault divorce available. That's a whole decade later. So people think that people were just getting divorced left and right in the 70s. No. It started to really show its ugly head in the 80s. For educational purpose and educational purpose only, for those that don't know. Number 3, Uniform Marriage and Divorce Act of 1970. Proposed by the Uniform Law Commissions, this act provides a framework for no-fault divorce laws that states could adopt. This encouraged more states to legislate no-fault divorce. Number 4, all 50 states in 2010. By 2010, all 50 states had implemented no-fault divorce laws. However, the specific variance from state to state, some states require a period of separation before granting a no-fault divorce. Benefits and criticism. Benefits simplifications made the divorce proceedings simple or less adverse. We call it adversable. I don't know if I pronounce it right. I'm getting tongue-tied. Privacy. Reduce the need to publicize air grievances. Autonomy. Allow individuals to leave unhappy marriage more easily. Which a lot of women are not. They just leave because they just want to leave. Let's be honest. Criticism. Family structures. Critiques argues that it might contribute to the weakening of family structures. Economic consequence. Some felt that it could lead to economic disadvantage for women and children. Modern context. Evolved legislation. While all states have no-fault divorce laws, some states still offer fault-based divorces. Impact of society. The availability of no-fault divorce has had a significant impact on divorce rates and societal views on marriage and separation. Overall, no-fault divorce laws have reshaped the landscape of material dissolution, emphasize individuals' autonomy, and simplify the legal process. If you want to dive deeper, and we're not going to. So I just want to lay that out there for no-fault divorce. All right. Let me run 2 more minutes, and I'm going to let somebody up because I see somebody back. So let's keep going 2 more minutes. Farious.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you have kids, I honestly think that it's more safe to just try to have a relationship completely outside of your kids if you can. That might look like you guys living in two different places, but and this is maybe just be my trauma speaking.
Well, were you saying that if you're married to someone and you already have kids, you're saying that women should probably keep their kids 100%?
I'm saying more so if they're dating. You know,
If
when it
they're
gets into
dating.
marriage, that's different. But like dating and living with men and doing that, like you should just not. And I was lucky that I worked from home, but can you imagine, you know, if I, you know, there's probably so many men just like, wait till she goes to work. And it's just sad.
Man.
I think what makes, you know, your story even more polarizing as it already is, which you know, recalling these events, is the content that you were putting out online, the self, you know, proclamation of being a trophy wife. And I think that's what has a lot of people, you know, stirred up all over the world at this point, because millions of people have seen the video.
Well, when I created my platform, I wanted to redefine the term trophy wife into a woman that is the Proverbs 31 woman, which is my favorite verse in the Bible, and I believe that every woman should aspire to be. It's not just about how pretty you are. It's about, are you, you know, being a good mom? What are your values? Are you choosing a man of values? You know, and I thought that I was talking about the right thing. And, you know, I don't think it's bad for a woman to want a successful man. I'm never going to say that a woman should just not care at all, you know, how a man shows up, because the success is honestly a manifestation of different attributes within the man. It's just a manifestation of being a hard worker, persistent, you know, faithful, all the things that success is a fruit of. So I still stand by that. But when it comes to dating as a single mom, luckily he didn't prey on his stepchildren. But what if he did?
You know what I want to do here? You know, it's a blessing to say this, but Dr. Spirit actually did show up.
Thank you.
All right. Just Shiny there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's good? What's good? And
What's
I'm
good,
gonna stop the video here because that's the half mark. Because they're gonna have to come in and they're gonna subtract it down. 52 minutes mark.
Oh, okay.
52. So what's good, Jay Shine? You heard enough from or listened to a good portion of the stream. I wish you caught it earlier, but what you see is what it's been laid out. This woman has been picking up a lot of attention now for some time now, and it looks to me she popped up on a panel or on a podcast that has a very strong following to really lay out her argument that this man's a demon, a monster, and that she's probably gonna revamp her channel since she got over almost 2.5 or close approaching 3 million views on one video that she has up and running, and every other video, all other videos she took them down, including how she met the dude and the lies she talked about. She for him to get married to her, or for she wanted to move in with him, she said, "Oh, you gotta marry me first for moving in." And she went and agreed to that, but she's not being transparent to these dudes, because these dudes should watch all her other videos. But I can't blame most people, because nowadays when you're trying to hide evidence and revamp it, you gotta take down all what you have already, so people don't really look at any other videos. If people gonna waste time, look at all these videos. But yeah. Go ahead, Jay Sean.
Yeah, you know, Cass, I've tried to sell some of my ideas to the Black Manosphere, but the Black Manosphere and men in general refuse to deal with reality. They refuse to deal with reality. Now, is it all men? No, but there's too many men out here who are not dealing with reality. These women out here are for sale. Okay? They're for sale. They are womb hustlers. You know, but nuptial hustlers. They are here standing in front of your family, taking vows and don't mean them. You understand what I'm saying? It's cold business. This is dirty work. So what's coming out to the media and, you know, and throwing their husband under the bus. This woman just sat here and talked about how good this man took care of her and her children.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the loyalty? You know what I mean? Like, I want you to think about what I'm saying. Like, let's take it out of marriage for a second.
Okay.
Let's say you have a child, Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Raised that child, took care of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when they become, I don't know, 16 years old, they just turn on you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where we are right now in our society. We have open narcissism. So we're gonna come out here and act like this woman did not marry for money. Like we just missing that whole fact. You know what I mean? Like she married for money. So this was a hustle the whole time. Why I even care? You know what I mean about how you feel?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is where our society has slid. And I'm gonna get to your point on no fault divorces in a second.
All right, that's cool.
But we gotta just I gotta hammer this home. Because I've always said this in the Black Manosphere for years. I've been in Black Manosphere since the beginning. And I said this for years. What is the secret? I ask this question all the time. What is the secret to the world?
Business.
No. What's the secret to the world? I've always, that's life.
Okay.
But what is the secret to the world, Cass? And I've always asked this question and I kept it simple. And I'm going to give you the answer right now. The secret to the world is people do what they can get away with.
True.
It's that fucking simple. This is not a hard thing that we've been trying to figure out for the last 8 years of the manosphere and the last 20, 30 years of just Black manhood in general. Because, you know, things that we talk about in the manosphere today or online today is not new. We was talking about this shit before there was internet. We was talking about through music. We was talking about through comedy. You know what I mean? We was talking about this for a long time. I mean, you know, Eddie Murphy Raw, he has a extensive part of his bit going into this marriage stuff. Half, you know what I mean? He was talking about that kind of stuff, you know, and you know, so this is not something that's not new. So when we get to no fault divorces, the men of that day fucked up. What I mean is, once that got on the table, if there was not going to be a law changed or a law to balance out anything that can happen bad to the man, then they should not have been any more marriages. So now that we have, right, 50, 60 years plus of data of men being destroyed through marriage, women get married for a year or 2, 3 years, and then get divorced and taking wealth. You see what I'm saying? We have that data now. And the reason they gave us no fault divorces in the first place is because women didn't want to be trapped in marriages, right? Whether it was abusive marriages, whether it was financial abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse. Okay, fine. I get all that. But now we have 60 years of data chaos telling us that the reason why these women are getting married is because they're reconciled with differences. It's not because of abuse.
Yep. And that's
right?
And that's fact.
Now, and not because of the abuse. It's not because of beatings. It's not because of financial. It's because of reconcilable differences.
Yep.
All right. What that means for those listening to us right now, a reconcilable differences is simply she woke up yesterday and said she didn't want to be in a marriage no more. That's it.
That's it.
Yep. All right. So, and then for that reason, she can go break up your home, kick you out of your house, have her boyfriend come in and fuck her while y'all legally separated, and then give another man access to your children. That's been the result of no fault divorces. For the most part. If for any woman that got an issue with what I'm saying right now, guess what? Follow the red bouncer ball. I don't give a fuck about your feelings. All right. This is irrefutable at this point. If you have a family situation, the truth of the matter is, Chaos, we shouldn't be known about this. The fact that we have a culture where you can lay next to somebody, have their children, and then come out to the world and throw them under the bus, which is so dishonorable, so disrespectful, and so outrageous to me. And it's commonplace now. And then what's going on between Black men and Black women, the problem you see is all rolled up in the video you just played. And what happened in that video you just played, what you have is what's wrong with us right now. What's wrong with us right now is we have out-of-line women and weak-ass men. And you just saw that on that same video. Weak-ass dude sitting here giving this woman the legitimacy, and out-of-line women throwing their men under the bus. How you gonna say, you know, and I dealt with it because he took so good care. He gave me money.
Exactly.
She just said it.
Yeah.
She just said it. She just said, yeah, it wasn't matter of happy or not, because he took so good, he gave us everything, you know. So your money and the lifestyle mattered more than the character of the man.
Mm-hmm.
So when that man turns out to have no character, follow the red bouncer ball again. I don't give a fuck what happens to you.
Exactly.
I don't care how you feel. Now, I do care what happens to children. And since we in this post-Me Too era, where we talking about believe all women, but guess what? I believe his niece. His niece came out here and she spilled the beans and talked about how this whole thing is a hoax and a hustle. So for two black men to sit up there without even getting the man's side, being gossip girls, right, with her, right, helping her push out tea and, you know, in the windows and false information, or it could be real information, whatever the case might be. But the bottom line is home information, it's family information, without getting his side and then consoling her as if it's the truth. See what I'm saying? They were treating everything she was saying as the gospel.
Of course. Yeah.
And that's if we don't have a trail of bullshit going on, as if you don't have Tia Mowry happening right now, as if you don't have Remy Ma happening right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're acting like there's not other what's not the options? What was the word I'm looking for? There's not other possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? They just taking it as gospel. And I'm not sitting here defending the guy. I don't know him. All I know is that, one, this is not our business, and two, she married for money.
Yeah, end of story. Yep, I agree.
Those two things are irrefutable, right?
Yep.
You know,
right.
So, you know, I don't really know what to do with this era chaos. I know one thing, you know, the more I see stuff like this, I know we need marriage reform. I know that.
Well, in Florida, and I never pull up, they already start dealing with the reform in regards to dealing with no fault divorce or the alimony portion, where now there is a time limit now. And they're already enacted in Florida. And just like no fault divorce took like since 69 and the next year 70 was acted, it took 10 years before other states follow suit. We're going to see less time of that. I give it under 4 years at most when we see other states going to follow suit. Where if you're married and you divorce or wherever, you don't get, or wherever, you don't get long-term alimony. You're going to get on a time limit on your alimony. After that, you got to go back to work. As you can see clearly, this bitch has not shown clearly she has worked for anything for a living. Hell, these dudes didn't ask question what you did for work again, from what you do.
Hustle other women and men.
And then they're asked a question, because think about it. In her video, and I have it right here, but I'm not gonna play it because I gotta find the mark of it. She said she was making 90K. Remember, I did play it earlier. She said she was making 90K at home. I'm saying at under 25 years old, what are you doing making 90K a year at home? I'm curious. What are you doing? Because right now, there's a dispute right now, and I'm going to give you a little tea of it, that this man's not paying no child support from what she's saying out her mouth. Well, I said, why would you take a man that violate your daughters? The last thing you want to do is you want nothing to do with him, includes money. But it tells you the character of the bitch.
Yeah.
No, we gotta be honest, women gotta understand this, and they know it personally.
Well, his niece is saying that the reason why this guy's not in jail, right? This is what I'm saying. We gotta start looking at reality. The reason why the guy's not in jail is because, and this is again, I wasn't there, nobody was there.
Yeah, I wasn't there either. Yeah.
One of her sons is the one that touched the girl.
Yes, correct. That's
the other version of us on the street. It's not just what she's saying, it's what the niece is saying. And this is what she's saying to investigate. So the niece she implored that the authorities know the truth. They know what's going on. This is why this guy's not in jail.
Yeah.
All right. She's trying to turn it on him and using, and I hate to say this, she's trying to use racism. Because that's what this is. This is racism against black men. Let me explain. It's easy to come out to the public and accuse a black man of doing something.
Of course. Too easy.
And everybody
Too easy. Too easy.
And we gotta stop acting like a lot of our own people do not use that against us.
Yeah.
All right. And this is a situation where that's happening again. It's
Yep.
easy. This is culture that even now, even some of my own people, a lot of our women have ingested that it's okay to accuse us. Every time we accuse, you just go with it.
Go with it. Like a
Go with
fucking
it. You know
lamb.
what I mean? Which is racism. It's one of the oldest versions of racism in America. How long have black men been on the hook for these phantom rapes of white women?
For 200 years.
I mean, for hundreds of years.
Yeah, maybe
You know
longer.
what I mean?
Yeah, for like,
Not
yeah.
longer.
Yeah.
And innocent men. We got every year, we have 6 to 7 maybe black men being released for being in jail for 20, 30, 40 years for a rape they didn't commit.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. For these 2 black men to sit up there as if there's no other possibilities that exist. You see what I'm saying? It's one thing, all right, fine. You want to give her the floor, you want to get clicks and views, you got a podcast. I get that, right? That's that's part of your job. You got to, talk about the hottest topics. If you can get somebody to come in and get the first take, then you do that. My point is, it shouldn't be set up as if what she's saying is the truth. It's one thing to sit there and let her tell her version of things and then say, okay, cool, and ask questions on some Barbara Walters shit. But to sit there and talk about, and the things we go through and the things you've been through, now you acting like it's real. You giving her story validity.
Exactly.
You're saying that what she's saying is the gospel. Because, it's like calling her a victim when we don't know she's a victim.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't have any proof. We just have what you're saying. Now, and then there's another female, a sister out there, that's telling a different story, and she's saying her story is backed by the authorities. And then I got to look at the evidence of the fact that he's not arrested.
No, not even a case number. They tell us there's an ongoing case. There's no such thing as no ongoing case.
In what world do we not pick up black men for doing shit? You know what I mean?
But this is some new stuff to me, Jay Shine. To me, they said, wait, so man, actually, if this proof fact that they checked the children out and there was some forced entry, it don't take long for somebody to be put in handcuffs.
No, not at all. Diddy's sitting in jail for the same thing 2 other white men just got bonded for. Yeah. What world do we get these advantages? You see what I'm saying? What world do black men get these advantages and lookouts? You know what I mean? Like, in what world, what universe? Cosby is innocent. Chaos.
Yep.
A lot of people don't say this. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about with the racism against black men. He had his court case overturned.
Yes.
So in the eyes of the law, he's innocent.
Yeah.
That means it didn't happen. They figured out a way to put him in jail. He had to go through a whole appeals process, and then he gets thrown out. So now he has his whole court case overturned, and he's out. He's out of jail now, and everybody goes back to life like it never happened. But there's no redemption. You still got people running around here talking about Cosby. Whoa, time out. He didn't do it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And we all know it was a fucked up case in the first place. But let's not get into that, right? But the bottom line is that in what world does somebody that has hundreds of millions of dollars like Cosby gets off, and then somehow this guy's not getting picked up? So there has to be some validity to what the young woman is saying, the niece. Now, are they going to have a niece on that show? I bet you they won't.
No, man. And she even called in. Cause I know that she was being hosted on it, but they're not going to allow that.
Yeah.
Because remember, they got to keep telling the narrative to their main predominant audience, which is the black fucking woman.
Yeah. Yeah. And there you go, Chaos, which is insidious.
Very dangerous.
Insidious, which is dangerous and insidious. And you got 2 stupid Negroes, males, sitting there, not understanding they're working against their own interests.
Yeah.
Charlemagne does all that simping. Torre does the same thing, right?
Yep.
And guess what happened to them? They both came down with accusations. You're feeding a monster that will eat your ass at some point.
You mean Torre, the guy with the fro? Torre?
Yeah, Torre, the guy that does all the interviews and stuff. He had to go off the grid for a week. He had to deal with his. And I bet you what happened was he paid some money for it to go away, even though if he did it or not. I don't know if he did it or not. But the bottom line is that he said he is super caping for for feminism, right?
Yeah.
And in playing to those, those sensibilities, like these two brothers are doing. And he has a crib doing that. And then what happened? He came down with allegations. Charlamagne do the same thing on his thing. He came down with allegations. You see what I'm saying? And if it wasn't for black women that he was friends with, that he was helping make money, because he helps Angela Rye and women like that make money.
Yeah.
All right. He puts them on. So they came out, to back him and, all that kind of stuff. And he wiggled out of it. But the bottom line is these guys are feeding the same alligator that's going to bite you.
Dummies. Just to get your bills paid.
Yeah. It's going to
I will be damned to do some dumb shit like that, person as a man. And I'll make much money. I would like to make more money, but I'll make much money on here. But there's some things I cannot do as a person that's gonna hurt me or any other man in the long run. You get me? It's like this. I understand why most of them cater to a certain brand of audience, because to be honest with you, black men are not paying their best interest for other male podcasters. And because of neglect, what has happened, you are feeding more simps to get paid by the women that majority of black men complain about. It's an audacity that these are only to feed a different audience to pay your bills. That is unacceptable.
Right.
Very unacceptable, especially a group of women that still operates in this Western hemisphere we call America, that protects them and feeds their delusion every day. So really, you can't complain about these ladies because you're feeding and having these same men create the environment, not the atmosphere, the environment for the illusion to continue to reign.
Right. I like that. I like how you tie that to your name.
Yeah, rain. It's raining right now. So with her, and another thing with you mentioned the sun, and I remember another content creator did talk about this. The tall lady, you might know what I'm talking about, right? And the funny thing with her, because she mentioned her take on the sun, is that the truth is going to be revealed in the next 7 years at best. Because if the boy is doing this, there's no way he's going to get away in the long term, because you're feeding the beast right now. If he's already there touching and, poking his own stepsisters. Yeah. And I can see why, because he already had problems with the men she was dealing with, because she has multiple baby daddies. And the multiple baby your son don't even like, and was up there. And listen about me, Jason, you're a grown man. I'm a grown man.
Yes, sir.
I will be fucking damn. A boy gonna sit there text me and threaten me. I will beat your fucking ass, little nigga.
Yeah.
Bro, listen, we're from the East Coast. You're from New York. You're not gonna know fucking little nigga gonna say some fly shit. Listen, who want me like? Who want me? You listen, man. Relax.
It'd be like baby boy.
Bro, I told Debbie that scene, baby boy say, that man took his arm and wrap around that nigga and choke the shit out of him.
Call for your mama. Call for her.
Real talk.
Yeah. Saliva drooling out your face. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But look, this is a catch-22, because it's like it's hard for me to dismiss her behavior in some of the situations that these women create. Because they create these situations. When you have multiple baby daddies, that's a choice. To be a single mama in this the year of our Lord 2024, right? As they say in the church. In the year of Lord 2024, in 2020, anything or 2000s, to be a single mother is a choice.
Exactly.
It's a fucking choice. I live in Europe. These women out here are sexually free, just like they are in America. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But they use birth control. They use active morning pills. They do not get pregnant. You don't have the level of abortions in Germany, even though they're allowed to have abortions. They're allowed to have abortions in Netherlands. You just don't see it because they have a different culture. Mainly, and here's where the men come in. Mainly because men, I'm gonna circle back to this dude in a second. Men over here do not play that single mother shit. Now, as much as I don't like BGS and I don't care for him, he was right when he did say that black women in America do have a better deal. They have a good deal because they can get away with certain things in America that other women in the world cannot. Western women in general, they got a better deal in America than they have anywhere else on the planet. If you have multiple baby daddies in Italy, you're done.
God
There's no one marrying you in Italy, period. All right? Italian men, Arab men, they don't play certain things, so the women don't play those games. If marriage is something you want. Now, on the backside, the marriage laws also have to help you out. That's why we need marriage reform. That's why men should not be getting married at all right now.
Right now.
Rare.
Yeah.
It should be rare based on how the laws are laid out. It should be rare. If you're going to sit here and tell me you're going to give women no-fault divorces, okay, cool, give them that. I'm not saying take no divorce away. That's the white boy shit. See, the white boys are trying to control women, right? They on some white supremacists trying to control women type stuff. I'm not on that. I say let them have abortions. Just limited it. Let them have no-fault divorces, but just reform marriage. If you come to the judge and say, I just want out the marriage, I'm just not happy no more. I don't want to be here. Okay, cool. Take what you came with the marriage and leave. Don't incentivize the hustle by still having these old antiquated outcomes, right? These patriarchal outcomes. Basically saying, all right, so if I'm married, I'm making $200,000 a year, and I marry a woman that's making $50,000 a year, I'm quote unquote the breadwinner. So now I'm being treated as a patriarch in divorce court. Why? It's one thing if I'd done something to create a problem in this relationship. If I was abusing her, and there's proof of it. If I was doing financial abuse, which is something I am against, brothers. I'm not for financial abuse. You know what I mean? What financial abuse is when you have all the money and you just basically ruling over somebody because you have all the money. You know what I mean? It's no different than using the same type of power at the job as a boss, right? It's not right. And if you want to say sexual abuse, as far as giving her STDs, forcing her to have sex, stuff like that, and things that you can prove, that's the kind of relationship I'm like, yeah, she needs to get up out of that. And it's not a no-fault divorce. This is a fault divorce. And in the case of fault divorce, yes, there should be some type of, severance package. You feel me? Because she signed up for something and she played her part and he turned into a complete asshole. But if it's a no-fault divorce and you're breaking up on reconcilable differences, then why are we breaking bread? Why are we taking houses from people? Why are we taking half of people's incomes? Why are we taking a man's future retirement from him? You know what I mean? Like, this shit is crazy, the stuff that I'm seeing. I worked in DC before I came over to Germany for 20-something years. I've seen it. When you've lived long enough, you see it now. I'm 47 years old now. I've seen this shit. I'm with men, and I've heard their stories, and you wondering why Jay Sean's not married. Because I'm not fucking crazy. All right? I don't care how fine a woman is, man. You know what? And maybe I'm being selfish. I know there's a lot of black men out here, or a lot of men in general, but have never had a fine woman, right? And when they finally get their hands on a fine woman, they don't want to let go. I get that emotion of that, but you have to think with your head, man. This is business, and that goes back to my slogan all the time. All right, business is life, and life is business. And you sign a marriage certificate is a contract.
Yeah,
it's business. You know what I mean? So you have to think with your brain, man. You gotta really think about what you're doing before you enter something like that. And if we're being men of our time, I'm talking to all men, black men, white men, whatever the case may be. If you're in the West, you have to start saying, you know what? We have to re-engage these laws, because the laws that were signed back in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, most of it was kicked off by conservative white males. Reagan, you just name one. And it was some of the red states that picked that shit up first. All right? And they didn't, because they were thinking from a patriarchal standpoint. See, in their old mind, and being patriarchs and having all the money, this is before women started making as much money as men make now. They were still looking at themselves as the breadwinner. And if you go in, matter of fact, recently, it was a Florida legislature, Republicans. This was ironic about it. The feminists on the left pick up on laws created by men on the right. You know what I mean? It's been a funny dynamic that's been going on for the last 70, 80 years. But in Florida, when it was trying to pass, bills restricting abortion, right? you know, saying basically the kid is it's a life at conception. Now they were part of the bill was allowing women to backdate child support to the beginning of the pregnancy. So that means even when the baby's born, they can backdate your child support 9 months.
But you gotta understand, Jay Shine, this is a big form of extortion in the highest form economically. And to go out the way, say now they look for any ways to collect more money. It tells you the state of condition of America right now. Because that's a lot just to take resource from a man, right? He's making a certain amount a year, right? He's making 40, 50, or even go as far as above that. That's a lot to take. Just to go out the way and say, I'm going to start taking money. And she puts it on, I got to collect from when the baby was born.
Yeah.
No other country, last country, does that shit. But here. And
No. UK does it. Australia does it.
Okay.
Yeah, Canada is not bad. There's about 10 other countries that are actually just as bad or worse than America. But
all right, let's tell us right now, because please educate people, because we don't know.
If you go to UK men are getting destroyed. Okay, they get destroyed, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's why marriage is falling off in the UK. They're actually having the same conversations in the UK, and I actually appreciate the UK because one thing the UK has over us. You know, one thing about being in the Black manosphere or being an American in general, being an American, apparatus is that we create a lot of shit. We started, that's why you see a lot of dudes that from overseas come into the manosphere. Remember that? When you had a lot of, you know what I'm saying? That because this was the place to talk. They don't have these places in China, and you know what I mean, these apparatuses in places in Africa and in Europe. Now, one thing I will say the UK have over us is talking about marriage law. They've been on that shit for a long time. You know what I mean? And I think they actually getting to the point where they might get some headway because divorces are so low. You know what I mean? And the family situation is so fractured in the UK, just like it is in America. They have to make some changes. They have to concede to the men. Now, Norway, or was it Norway or was it Sweden? It was one of those Scandinavian countries. They went through this already. And they've changed their laws. Okay, what the white men were doing there, which is what I would respect the passport bros for doing if they would do this. Those men were bringing women from other countries into their country, and the women got together and said, "Hey, okay, fine, we give up." You know what I'm saying? Just make the laws a little more fairer. You know what I mean? Because it was swinging wildly to women as well, right? When these ideas of feminism get aerosoled into law, they kind of have a ripple effect throughout all of Western society. Now, but different countries would handle it differently. And in that Scandinavian country, what happened was the men said, okay, word, okay, that's what y'all want to do, then we'll just import our wives. They started getting Eastern women from Eastern Europe. They started bringing women in from South America. They started bringing women in from Asia. And the white women in that country said, okay, no mas. All right, let's make the laws more fair. All right, and then that brought those white men back home, and they started having more of this Scandinavian family. You know what I mean? It was a threat to these homogeneous societies. These are societies that want to stay who they are, right? They want to stay Danish. They want to stay Norwegian. You know what I'm saying? So that bringing these different women in, and then the men not having, not getting married, and then also the circle of women who are sexually free, and men don't have to get married to have access to sex anymore, right? So if you're top tier men, you're top 10% or top 20% of men who are wanted by the women, you're going to get sex on tap. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to get married. I mean, and if you're a man of wealth or means, you can go get a woman from another country and bring her in, and then they were having their families in their country. That's one thing I respect about those men. I'm not leaving my country to go be under another man's patriarchy. If you want to be a passport, bring the women back home and create your own societies. That's a flex. Going to live in Brazil or live in Colombia under a southern man's rule is not a flex to me. I look at everything through power dynamics, but I digress. The bottom line is that that's what happened in those Scandinavian countries. And those women had to come around and give them, that doesn't mean they treated the men any better, but at least the laws didn't back up their fuckery. In America, the laws back up female fuckery. And they're abusing them. They're abusing the laws. And all it takes is for you as a man is to agree, basically step into that trap and lose your wealth. And I don't at this point in 2024, Chaos, I can't feel sorry for you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't feel sorry for you. It's not my fault you a tender dick nigga.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you keep allowing these women to thrive off your wealth. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand why you, especially when they've countered with free sex.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like the same guy that married this woman could have had her just by giving her money. He could have just been a sugar daddy. And everybody was like, well, yo, you still giving out money. Hey, listen, if the dude game is weak and he want to pay for it, that's his prerogative. But what will not be on the hook right now will be half his wealth. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. I agree.
All right. So yeah, I'm not for being a sugar daddy. I'm not for that neither. But at least in that situation, if he was tricking, he wouldn't have his wealth at stake. He wouldn't have his homes at stake. He wouldn't have his retirement at stake.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all.
Yeah. One last thing I want to say, because I'm going to call this and wrap this up. You heard what's going on with Jay-Z, and I don't want to go into detail because I'm not going to invest my time covering him, because I look at a lot of these celebrities now, and it's beyond what Cat Williams said. I think all this was planned out. I think what PD did, he made a greater chess move to go combat a bigger head, and he lost in regards to they got him with the help of the American system.
Yeah,
because the people he was dealing with are not American citizens. They're foreign companies selling liquor, and he was getting played out of millions, and he's trying to sue for a billion. Or two. And I'm saying that's fine, but make sure you have your army intact, because what's going to happen when you go at these big heads, you're going into battle which you could potentially lose. And as you know, he is losing right now. Because think about it, everybody knew about what this dude was doing for decades. They didn't say nothing. It's just when you start messing with the money, you have to go. This is business. Same thing with who else was messing with the money? I'm trying to remember. Like Drake. He wants to do his own label because he lost, which the label promote and big up Kendrick because they need the numbers. Instead of taking an L and saying that we need it because we need this for not only for the music, fuck the music, we need this for the money. You decide to be like a little bitch, but what do you expect? You're not a hood dude to go say I'm gonna sue you for $1 billion. Okay. Less than a few days, you hear the talk about the guy from Florida that got deleted. I think it's Tech9, Testacion or something, saying that Drake might be involved. You didn't hear nothing from Drake since. Have you? Have anybody heard from Drake? Still going forward with that? No, you didn't hear shit. Because they said, oh, that's what I'm playing? Okay, I got something for you. Shut your ass up. I'm not gonna have no more conversation with black men moving forward with this, or what you see a black man are getting attacked by. You are fucking with someone bigger than you. You don't have nothing established for yourself with other men within your group to protect you if you go at other groups. You get all your money from these motherfucking people. How dare you try to go at them? You butt in the hand that feeds you. You have to understand and I have the book 48 Laws of Power. Some of you niggas need to start reading that. And it was written by another Caucasoid telling you how he rules the world, and he put in the book saying this is my power, and this is how we're gonna play the rules.
Right.
That's how this world works. It's run by power.
That's it.
And the ones that got the most power,
that's it.
It takes the world.
That's it. It's all about power. Nothing else matters.
Nothing matters. Nothing else matters.
Nothing matters. So these women have been empowered, and every time we see a situation like this, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? And they walk around with their heads up because they're trifling, for one. But I don't want to get into, and I think we as men got to stop getting into, not me and you, Chaos, but just men in general. We have to stop getting into this this moral argument with the women so much. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because that's also a trap too, because there's a lot of men out here making moral arguments against the women, but are not living moral themselves. But the bottom line is that you start making a moral argument and start making just arguments that lead to law, because that's all that matters. If a woman likes me or not, she can't take me for no reason. You see what I'm saying? Take my money for no reason. That's what I need the law to say. Yeah. It's not about choosing right. I don't want to hear that. When I hear MTR and all these other dudes that have no real game, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
I hear spitting talking about you need to choose better, or that's the conversation's over. I turn you off. I don't want to hear you no more.
Yeah.
Because that's stupid talk. You can choose right today and have a great relationship with somebody. That doesn't mean she's not going to break bad on you in 7 years.
Exactly. In this country,
these are men who are not dealing with power dynamics. They're still trying to have a moral and emotional argument with women, and not even directly through the internet. Do you feel me, baby? Do you black women feel me? Do you understand where I'm coming from? Do you understand this is wrong? Fuck wrong, right or wrong. All right, we're done with power. Look, I'm not here trying to convince no bitch to do right.
Mm-hmm.
That is not my place. I don't know you. That is a personal thing. I got friends in my circle, sisters I talk to, my blood sisters. That's why I affect them on an emotional level and a mental level, because I deal with them. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about social dynamics, power dynamics, this has to be done in law. We need marriage reform. All right, just like we need child support reform, just like we need paternal right reform for fathers. These are the things we need. So no matter what's on her fucking mind, I don't have to worry about the law backing her fuckery.
Exactly.
And that's what I don't understand. Niggas don't understand. We don't adhere to child support because Keisha says so. We don't just give her the money because Keisha says so. No, we worried about some dudes with guns showing up in our house, or some judge in a black robe taking out fucking garnishing our checks, or garnishing, taking our passport, or taking out. You see what I'm saying? There's punitive, there's punitive actions that happen to you as a man if you don't comply.
Yeah,
that's law. That's enforcement, and she's abusing it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so and that's just the end of it. So that's what we need to deal with. Instead of stop trying to raise somebody else's woman. That's not your woman. That's not your daughter. I honestly feel for the last 8 years, and I'm gonna say this to might offend some people, because there's a lot of people out here who like to put women in a chair and argue with them. I never like that shit. It's just always weak to me and whack. You know what I mean? You're doing it to appease and entertain some of the most weakest men that we have in the space.
Mm-hmm.
All that shit was a waste of time. It is a waste of time. You're sitting here trying to chastise and raise another man's child. Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
You can have any feeling you want against single mothers, right? And that's your right to have that in general, because of how single motherhood and how it's backed by the law, and that's your that's your right and your prerogative, right? And you can speak on it.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing you can't do, Chaos, is deal with my baby mama.
Mm-hmm.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
All right. And as you know from my history and me getting custody and all that kind of stuff, anybody knows me in this space. I thoroughly dealt with her.
Yep.
She's been handled. Okay. That you know what I'm saying? I took care of my issue.
Mm-hmm.
She's good. All right. She was a little slow at first, but she got it now.
Yeah.
All right. Because I've used power. It wasn't emotion. Me arguing with her wasn't working. I had to get I had to get educated on the legal system, and I had to take action, Chaos. All right. And then once I got certain levels of power, you know what I mean, and authority, and I wielded it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's all that matters. And now she's smiling, giggly. You know why? Because unfortunately for a lot of these women and people, it's not just women, it's people in general.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get it until until you have power. They only adhere to power. And you see what I'm saying? So you can keep making all the moral arguments you want, but you're asking somebody to behave. That's what it's technically what you're doing. Instead of just having it set up, like you can't go to certain countries and do certain things and get certain outcomes. Our women know that. You know why? Because if they wanted to, they love going to the bar to visit. But you notice our women are not going over trying to marry their men, they're married to their system. Because they're not going to have the hookups that they have in America. You see what I'm saying? They'd rather sit here and wrangle and haggle and finagle money out of a goddamn UPS worker than go try to get one out of a millionaire in Dubai. Because the laws are not on their side. The only thing you can get out of that is some Birkin bags, some red bottoms, and some good photos for your IG. I rest my case.
All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up here. Thank you, Jay Sean, for coming up. You know, I do these things on the random, and it was like a little after dark edition of this stream today. I did went a little raw, but it's all good. You know, I'm hoping that maybe if I follow up and during the time you could probably come back again, we chop it more so I have more time. But you know, it's good that you're here. Appreciate it, brother.
No problem, man. Chaos reign in the house, man.
Yes. All right.
Thanks for letting me come up, Melody. You take it easy.
Take care, man. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Yep. All right, guys. That's it for today's stream. Please leave a comment at the end of this video. Sure, we look forward to reading your comments. The links are posted. If I post it in the description of this stream, where you can follow me. Other than that, thank you for watching. Until next time, let chaos reign.